The strategy here on the part of the prosecution. I am joined this morning by Joseph D. Benedetto, Karen DeSoto, and Meg Strickler. Hello, I'm Chris Jansing. Joe, let me start with you. What did you think?
I have to tell you, that rebuttal absolutely flopped. It was one of the worst rebuttals I've heard in a long time. He went out of his way to highlight evidence that did not help him. Stick to what got you here. Show photos of the tattoo. Show photos of that beautiful little girl. Pull on the jurors' heartstrings. It was an absolute flop.
As we sat here yesterday, Karen, and our legal panel was saying what they thought he should do, they say you always go for the emotion. When you have that rebuttal, first of all, you always have the opportunity as the prosecutor to be the last one who leaves your message with the jury. Would you have done it that way, point by point by point?
No. I mean, there's two ways, Chris, that I do it. I do the flowchart approach, but that's usually in very technical patent-type cases, or I take the three best elements that I think that I can win on, and I will stand up for about 10 or 15 minutes, and I will drive those 3 points home, and then I will sit down, and hopefully there will be a tear or two shed, and then that's when I know I can sit down.
Meg Strickler in Orlando, and you were with us yesterday as we were talking about what we thought that the prosecution would do here on rebuttal. What do you think?
I agree with Joseph. That was very boring on top of everything else. There was no reason for Ashton to say everything he said. And he also tossed a bone to the defense by saying Kronk is a liar. That means he said something different yesterday than he said today. And that's going to confuse the jury completely. And also, the jury's ready to go. They are ready to deliberate. And they figured we're done. We spent 8-9 hours yesterday. They figured Ashton would probably get up 15 minutes, maybe. And it's been an hour. And now we still have to hear from Linda Drain verdict. They're probably like, oh my gosh, when is this going to end? And Ashton should have gotten up, like we said yesterday, 15 minutes, hit the 3 key points, sit down, end with a bang. And hopefully Linda's going to do that. I'm hoping she's going to do the mother thing and pull at some heartstrings and end with the emotion. If she goes and drones on for an hour again, the defense is going to get a better verdict than I would have anticipated.
Well, Meg, what can you tell us about her and what's her style as a lawyer? What would you expect based on past experience?
With Linda, I think she's going to, I hope, and I do think she's going to be short and succinct and do pull at the emotion. And she will say, because she's a female, and we do use our gender in cases, at least I do and most women do, we use our gender because we can. And she's going to pull at the 7 women jurors and say, if you're a mother, you understand. There's no way you could hurt a child who's 2.5 years old. They're precious. Show pictures of Kaylee, and do a lot of emotional pull. Sit down. 15 minutes, 20 minutes tops is what I'm thinking she's going to do, and I'm hoping she will do.
7 women and 5 men on this jury. And Karen, it was interesting because I was reading a very long write-through about the people who come and line up for this trial. Right. And they're mostly women. Some of them have taken vacation. They've flown across the country. And all of them say exactly the same thing, to Meg's point, which is that they're moms who are drawn here by their heartfelt sorrow for what they believe happened to this little girl. Right. Is that what Linda Drain verdict needs to play on?
Absolutely. I mean, women are when you're a trial attorney, they tell you that women are more likely to find guilt. Maybe not be heavy on the sentencing, but they're more likely to find guilt. Obviously, in this case.
Why is that? Do you know?
Well, those are just the statistics. I don't know why that is. I mean, I can't generalize everybody, but I think in a case like this with a mom, absolutely, most moms would be curled up, even if it was their fault. And I can tell you, as a former litigator, I used to do Division of Youth and Family Services, and there are many cases like this, not just chloroform, women who have killed their kids or harmed them from giving them alcohol to make them sleep while they go out and party. Benadryl, Zoloft, Prozac, this is not an uncommon thing. So even in those cases, here in New York, 4 or 5 years ago, a woman went, partied, threw up in a bucket, and drowned her child in a bucket. She called the police. In every single one of those cases that I told you, even though they were the cause of the harm, they called up. So that's what 7 women on our jurors is going to do. They're going to say, well, even if you were at fault, you're going to call the police. You're going to do something. You're going to make some attempt to try and save your child.
You got to go for that sort of practical thing, like what was she doing in all that time that she was missing. All right, we're going to take a quick break, but remember, we're just in a 20-minute recess here, and then the prosecution will, with Linda Drain verdict, wrap up its case, then the charge, and finally these jurors who have to be anxious at this point after 35 days of being in court are going to be very anxious to get this case and have a chance to deliberate. We'll take a quick break, be back with more on this 4th of July with the Casey Anthony trial on MSNBC.